Today we're going to learn about making cordage using wood nettle fiber. And specifically we're going to use the reverse wrap method. So let's take a look at the plants that we're going to use. These are the winter stalks of wood nettle. In the summer you're going to find huge colonies of these in the woodlands. Stinging nettle has narrow leaves, while wood nettle has broader leaves, probably the size of a human hand. These are tough to spread out without breaking them up, but you can hopefully see a little bit that we're not dealing with a long, narrow, lance-like leaf like you would find on stinging nettle, a very close relative. In the winter is the prime time to harvest these. In the summer, you can still see some of the residual spikes on here. In the summer, these have wicked spikes, twice as mean as stinging nettle. But here in the winter, they're not going to hurt us, even though you can see them there on the stem still. I just pull from the bottom and up comes the stalk. This is amazingly easy to harvest this time of the year. Just break it in half. That's going to separate the fibers. You can grab the fibers on one end, pull, and you'll get a really nice long string of fiber. Here's the ones on the other side. And just like that, I've got a nice handful of fibers to use. There are many other fiber plants out there, but I prefer the wood nettle for a number of reasons. First of all, it's really easy to harvest in the winter like this. Couple minutes and I've got a nice bundle that's ready to be made into reverse wrap cordage. Second of all, it's really strong stuff, which I'll get to show you at the end of the video, especially after we've used that reverse wrap method to strengthen it and create a really nice strong piece of cordage. So this part I'm going to show you point of view, so that it's really easy for you to follow along and do your own reverse wrap. Again, you can use any natural fiber that you want. Milkweed works really well. I know in the south there's all kinds, yucca and all kinds of really great fibers that we don't have here in the north. Dogbane, which we have here in the north, is one that's often used and makes a really nice cordage. But again, nothing like wood nettle, at least in my opinion. So first of all, I want to separate these out to try to get two pieces that are about equal in width. So you can see the one on the left is a little bit too thick. So I'm going to take some of it off. Once I have, focus, once I have two that I feel are pretty much the same width, I'm going to begin reverse wrapping. And here's how we do it. I'm going to start at one end of my fibers. I'm going to take these and I'm going to pinch them to hold them together. You can't see it, it's off camera. I'm going to lick my fingers. Keep them nice and wet so it's easy to grab this bottom one. I'm going to twist that towards myself, and then I'm going to bring it towards me and over the top. My finger and thumb move forward to pinch. I take the new bottom one, I roll it towards me, and then I bring it towards me and over the top. When I say I roll it towards me, when I take this bottom one, what I mean is I'm taking it and the top of it is coming towards me. So I'm going counterclockwise if I would look at it face on. Over the top. Move my finger forward and pinch. One thing to remember is that if one of your strands starts to get too thin, or you get to the end of one of your strands, you can splice in new cordage. And I'll show you how to do that. Let's say I've been going along for a while, not really paying attention, and suddenly I notice that my top one is really thick, my bottom one is really thin. So here's what I do. I take an extra piece, you can see this dark one that I'm bringing in, I'm going to add it to my thinner piece of cord. And its tail can just stick right out, no problem. Then those two, the thin one and the one I've added, I'm licking my fingers again, I'm going to treat as one. So I'm going to roll it towards me, roll it over the top, towards me, over the top. What I've done is even these out so that they're about equal again. And then I just keep going. And that splice, later on, I can just bite or cut off that little tail end. And if I've done it nice and tightly, I won't lose too much integrity in my piece of cordage. Eventually, this will get into you so it becomes really easy to do. And you can just work your way along. Final review before I show you how strong this is. I keep licking my fingers just so it's easier to grab, especially out here in the cold where it's kind of dry. Rolling this one towards me in this direction. My thumb, you can see, is rolling towards me. And then goes over the top. So I'm reaching around with these fingers, pinching, completing the wrap, these fingers, thumb and forefinger and pointing finger, come up and pinch it. I let go. The bottom one, my thumb comes towards me. Bring it over the top. So what we've actually done is taken these fibers and rolled them against each other so that they hold themselves. Unlike leg rolled cordage, for instance, which is much faster, this holds itself in place. You don't even have to tie an end knot. So here it is, about 1 foot long. Got one splice over here. If it's going to break, that's probably our most likely place. And let's see what happens. Good and strong. And indeed, it broke right at that splice. You can see it did survive a number of those really nice jerky pulls. I think for a piece of fiber that is this thick, it's pretty darn good. I'd like you to notice how fine these fibers are. These are really amazing fibers that are quite beautiful, kind of white and silken. And each one of those little fibers is quite strong. When it's wrapped up, we really have a nice piece of cordage. Last thing I'd like to do here is help you create a search image so that you can see the wood nettle in the winter. It's these ghosty leaved things. Some right up here. This. So if you go out in your woodlands, and these are in your area, you're going to see these this time of the year. And typically they've retained some leaves like this. And so they're a dry stalk with those kind of thick ghost-like leaves hanging on them. Again, you usually find them in a colony like this. To further identify them, look for those little jabbies on there, those little thorns. You probably can see those right along the edge there against my fingers. Those aren't going to hurt you now. Those are what give such a nice sting in the summer. But again, that would further identify this as a nettle. Really nice shot right there of it. Finally, to make sure that you've got the right stuff, just break it in half and you should find that really nice fiber that pulls right out. It's already going to be strong, and it's only going to be stronger when you use that reverse wrap method to create some nice cordage with it. So head out in the woods, see if you can find some of this. It's great to work with. In that reverse wrap cordage method, though slow, you can sit around the campfire and just do it habitually, and you'll have a nice supply of natural cordage always at your disposal.